If you've been paying attention to this battle, then you know that Drake is in a bad position right now. If you were watching the NBA playoffs and you heard them play They're Not Like Us, the NBA playoffs is playing They're Not Like Us from Kendrick Lamar, then you just know Drake is not in a good position right now. I remember, I think it was last playoffs, they were playing Drake in Lil Durk. Sometimes we laugh, sometimes we cry. Like they were playing that song. But things have shifted, and now the NBA playoffs are playing Kendrick's diss record. I remember back to back was like that when Drake dropped back to back, and that was just a banger, and everyone was playing that. The tables have kind of shifted. People are writing Drake off. I do think he has a path to victory, but he needs to follow this blueprint. If he follows this blueprint, I think he can come back. So I'm going to look at some of the notes that I made. BBL Drizzy. That's a popular challenge taking place because Metro Boomin gave a free beat out to everyone and said he's going to pick the best song. Whoever dropped the best verse or the best diss to that beat, he's going to give him that beat, right? So he dropped BBL Drizzy. The thing about BBL Drizzy is it's picked up steam. If you go online, you see a bunch of people who made their songs to it, and there's some hilarious ones. So what Drake needs to do is he needs to make a song to BBL Drizzy, but he needs to make the song to BBL Drizzy with the theme that he's a surgeon performing surgery on his ops, right? And he's doing that to expose their. You see what I'm saying? Now, if he does that and he makes a fire track, which the beat is hot. I mean, you can't lie, the beat is hot. If Drake gets on there and does what he do, you know, he could actually make a fire diss record to it where he's performing surgery on his ops. He's exposing his ops, and it would be fire. Then he puts Metro Boomin in a compromising position because now Drake has made possibly the most popular. It's going to be the most popular version of any song that was made to that beat. Drake would have made it, and he made it on a dope beat for free. So now Metro Boomin's either going to have to tell Drake to take the song down or ask him for money, and it's going to put him in a bad position. So if he asks Drake for money for the song or to keep the beat, he's going to look bad. If he makes Drake take it down, he's going to look bad. So either way, Drake's going to have ammo. And if he's forced to just bite the bullet, Drake would have rebranded BBL Drizzy. So I think it's a great move. Rebrand BBL Drizzy, and I think that's a genius move. His fans will be like, yo, Drake came up on that one. The next thing is, trying to strike a chord, and it's probably a minor, right? That's the dope diss from Kendrick. They're both alleging that they're saying things that are inaccurate. For me, the whole, oh, you're saying things that are phony or things that aren't real, it doesn't matter to me. Like at the end of the day, that's not what it's about. For me, it's not like this is a court hearing and there's the rules of evidence and you got to present this before you can. That's not what it is. So to me, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, right? Whether or not what they're saying is true. It's about whether or not the public buys it, and the public's buying what Kendrick's saying. They're not really buying much of what Drake is saying. But Drake is also alleging that there's domestic violence and everything. I don't want to get into the validity of any of that. I'm not researching any of that. Strictly for the battle purpose, though, if Drake wants to play on what's already been presented into the battle, he can say a line like this: domestic violence, boy, we know you got priors, arrested for assault, and it's probably a minor, something like that. Play on the minor line. You want to get that back because that's his most popular line. So if you're familiar with hip hop and rap battles, the best battle rappers take your best line and use it against you. They flip it against you. So Drake hasn't been doing a lot of that. He's been letting the blows land. Pause. He hasn't been flipping. He hasn't been throwing back. He hasn't been countering, so to speak. So he needs to throw a counter, and I think that playing on minor assault would be a dope counter. So there's that. Also, Metro Boomin. Metro Boomin is now being labeled Metro Grooming, and they're damaging tweets from Metro Boomin that show he actually may be what people are alleging Drake is. So again, I don't want to get into that. My point in here isn't to throw shade at people or expose people, whatever. I'm here strictly for the battle and how you can win the battle. But the fact that Metro Boomin is now being labeled Metro Grooming, that gives Drake even more ammo that he didn't have before, which will allow him to flip this battle on its head, so to speak. And I know that's not Kendrick and that's Metro, but Drake is battling multiple people. Rick Ross has thrown himself in it. Metro's thrown himself in it. There's a lot of people watching, looking to, there's a lot of people finding joy in Drake being exposed or Drake currently being down to Kendrick Lamar. So if he can take that and flip it, that will also be a dope thing. Now, people are also making are highlighting that Drake has been exposed having a lot of friends in the industry who are younger, like Billie Eilish and others, right? And so Drake can bring up the fact that he was a childhood star, and he knows what the childhood stars experience. Think about what's happening with Nickelodeon and the On Set documentary, where it exposes what some of the young kids go through and the child stars and how it impacts their psyche. So he can just say, like, as a child star who's been through it, who knows the stresses of the industry, he's just trying to be a mentor and someone who was there. And everyone's highlighting the young women, obviously, but they're young men that he mentors as well. And no one's mentioning them. They're just trying to make it seem like all he does is mentor young women. So for me, I have mentees, and I have mentees that are young men and young women. So, for example, in my profession, I mentor kids who want to do what I do or who are trying to navigate the school systems and want to go to college and want to be successful. So, right, obviously, if you're a mentor, unless you're only going to limit being a mentor to the same sex or those who identify as the same gender as you, then you're tying someone's hands. So all he has to do is say he's just a mentor in general, and he's trying to help the younger generation. And to me, unless you have more concrete evidence to pin him down, then it is what it is. Now, people keep showing this clip of Drake at 22, and there's a 17-year-old girl, and you have to understand, and I'm not excusing it, but what I will say is, like, if the girl was 21 and Drake was 26, it would be no issue. And I'm not saying that was the case, but you have to, in the state that I'm in, the legal age of consent is 16. So at 16, someone's old enough to consent to what Drake was doing on that stage. And I'm not saying it makes it right, and I'm not saying that I excuse it or I don't find it to be weird. You can find it to be weird, but is it legal is something completely different. So also the fact that he was much younger himself in that video, to me, is kind of like, think of things you did when you were, 37 now? So we're talking 15 years. Think about things you did 15 years ago. If you even been like, would you still do those same things now? So it's kind of like they're putting that out there, but if you got to show something more recent, I feel like, and also even when you look in the age gap, there's a larger age gap between my mom and my dad than those 5 years. So, anyways, just saying, throwing that out there. So the next thing is, so far, the reason why Drake's disses aren't landing is because it seems like he's attacking Kendrick's wife more than he's attacking Kendrick, and talking all the stuff about Day Free, and that's more of you. You're kind of making Kendrick, if anything, you're making Kendrick a sympathetic figure. And also you're disrespecting his wife. you're not really going at Kendrick. And I think that's what's hurting Drake. A lot of his fans are women. And so to see him attacking another woman that way, like you think of Insecure, right? I remember one of the episodes, Issa Rae's like, oh, we like Drake. He just gets us. I bet you when they wrote that, they never thought he would be attacking a woman the way that he is. Although it may even be unintentional. I don't know how it could be unintentional. You're basically everything you're saying about their kid and all this stuff, you're attacking the woman because that's what you're doing. So whether he realizes it or not, his stuff isn't really focused on Kendrick. And I feel like there is things that he can focus on with Kendrick. So for example, Kendrick does say a line like his wife was listening to Drake and he was thinking, wow, is he that much better than me? So he can focus just on that. Like Kendrick envies him because although Kendrick may get all these awards, he's always going to be second to the woman he loves because she likes Drake over him. She likes Drake's music better than his, right? He can limit it to Kendrick's only pro-black on wax. Now, there are things about Kendrick that have come out that question whether or not he identifies with some of the things that he's saying. And so you may want to go at that. And you can do that because what Kendrick Lamar is doing to Drake is a character assassination. He's trying to show Drake isn't who he claims he is. He's questioning Drake's blackness, basically. So why not throw that same type of character assassination back at him? There's enough ammo for it. I'm not going to get into it because I'm not trying to, but trust me, there's enough ammo for it. But that's what I mean about battle rap. Drake dabbled into it a little bit, but if I was him, I would pursue that avenue more because Drake that's the easiest target for Drake. What does Rick Ross call him? If you know, you know. So, but what he needs to do is start going at Kendrick in that avenue because there's a lot of holes in Kendrick's game. If you know, in that avenue. So Drake needs to start pursuing that. So yeah, basically those are some things that I think that if Drake does this and he does it well, he can come back into the battle because I don't think he's that far gone. Kendrick is up, but Kendrick has made more diss songs. So you got to look at it like at this point, Kendrick has made more songs. Drake's most recent response, I like I said, I feel like it's more of a diss towards his wife than to him. And I just think that if Drake refocuses himself and takes the steps and the advice that I gave him in this video, he could actually come back. So let me know what you think in the comment section. Or is it just over? Is it just over and you don't think there's anything he can do? I think he can do these things and I think he can make a comeback. But let me know what you think in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe. I'm out. Peace.